everybody. This is Miss Solomon, and I'm going to go through today the assignment for the mystery jar. So, the first thing I want you to do is make sure to go back to the tutorial for Kami if you have not yet done that. So, if you have not yet done the tutorial for Kami, make sure you please do that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the mystery jar assignment in Schoology. You're going to go to the week 1 folder and open up mystery jar. Don't click the PDF. You're going to, if you have Kami, which you have to have, click open with Kami. Now again, just a reminder to sign in using your Schoology sign in. So this is what we're going to have prepared for when we do the mystery jar assignment. So the way we started the mystery jar assignment was with a little presentation. What I asked everybody to do first was to look at the warm-up and write down, what do you think these three terms mean? What is an observation versus what is inference, and what is a prediction? I'm going to ask you to pause the video right now and then come back when you have like your best guess of what those mean written down. All right. Hopefully you're back. So what is an observation? An observation is something you look at, something you see very closely. You're really paying attention to the details. You're using your 5 senses: sight, touch, taste, smell, and sound. And you're really paying attention to all the little details. And then how is that different from an inference? An inference is a guess about something using the context of what you know around you. For example, last week when I walked out in the morning, it was cloudy outside, and I'm like, wow, it's really cloudy, but it's August, so it's not going to rain. That's an inference. I'm making a guess that since it's California and it's August, it's probably not going to rain. But guess what? It did anyway. So it was a guess, but it was a wrong guess. But that's okay. That's an inference. And then what is a prediction? A prediction is kind of like a guess what's going to happen in the future. What do you think is going to happen next when you're watching something and you see that, you kind of can make a guess about what will happen? So you're probably familiar with the term observation and prediction, but inference is one that maybe people don't hear all the time. So science begins with when someone notices something and asks questions about it. For example, if you look at this picture, someone might say, wow, monarch butterflies, they are always around in the summer and the spring, but then where do they go? Where do they go for 6 months out of the year? How come they're not here year round? And then they suddenly emerge again. So that's a question that scientists can look at. And they really, there are people who dedicate their whole lives to answering those kinds of questions. And of course, they found that monarch butterflies actually have migrations, that they migrate from Canada all the way down to Mexico. And it sometimes takes them 7 generations to do that. So it's pretty amazing. And they found out some pretty amazing, miraculous stuff about the life cycle of monarch butterflies by asking those kinds of questions and by making inferences and predictions and then testing those. So science is really cool because you really have a certain way that you search for questions. So today the objective is really to understand, what is the difference between an observation, inference, and a prediction. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the mystery jar. So you should already, that's not correct actually, but you should already have that open. So we're going to open up our mystery jar assignment. And I'm going to show you the mystery jar now. And I want you to just look at it for a few minutes. And I want you to draw what you see. Just make a little sketch of the mystery. This is the mystery cup because I'm doing this at home. So What do you see swimming around in there? What do you think? Start making your observations. Start thinking about what do you think this might be? It's okay to make some guesses in your mind. I'll hold it closer in a minute, but I want you to just get a sketch of it. You can add my face, my smiling face if you want. Well, they're very, very busy today. They are moving. Some of them are kind of hanging out of the top. Some of them are hanging out of the bottom. So what do you think? Just make, and then on number 2, take a moment to write down your observations. Note all the different things. Use your sense. I mean, you can't really use your senses because you can't smell it or hear it or taste it or touch it. So right now, all you're going to do is just use visual observations. Write down things you see, things you notice. 4 different things. Okay, so you can pause the video. I'm just going to keep going because I don't want to make this video take 45 minutes. But once you get that written, you can unpause your observations. So whatever your observations are, that's cool. But I'm going to just put a few that the people in class wrote. So one person said the water is cloudy. All right. Another person said the things are swimming up and down. And then they said someone said the objects are small and brown. They might look black on the screen. And then someone else said, what else did they say? Oh, someone says they don't look edible. That's actually something someone said in class. So those are some of the options, but I'd rather have you put your own and then evaluate whether they're observation, inference, or prediction. So let's look at these. The water is cloudy. Is that an observation, an inference, or a prediction? Most people would say observation because you're looking at it and you're like, oh yeah, look at that. It's kind of cloudy. But in reality, do we know for sure that that's water? Do we know that's water? It's a clear liquid. It's a little bit cloudy, but we don't know for sure. I know, but I'm saying people who are looking at this don't know that this is water. There are other clear liquids. There's vinegar, there's bleach, there's other types of things. So that would be an inference. You're making a guess that that is water. How about the things are swimming up and down? All right. Is that an observation, an inference, or a prediction? Remember, an inference is a guess about something you're noticing, something that you're observing, and you think maybe you know something about it, right? But in reality, we don't know if they're really swimming. It looks like they're swimming. They're moving, that's for sure. But we're not sure if they're truly swimming. So that would also be an inference. So the objects are small and brown. Now that's just a visual description. So that indeed is an observation. And then they don't look edible. They don't look edible. I mean, that's not really it's an observation that they don't look edible, but that is more of an inference as well. So you got to be careful because a lot of times people think they're making observations, but they're actually making inferences. They're making guesses about things they're seeing, and their brain is kind of telling them It might be one thing based on their previous experiences, right? Now, if I said these little things are gonna drink up all the water and then jump out, that would be a prediction, right? Because it's something in the future. If I said that after 10 minutes they're going to stop moving, that would be a prediction. All right? Prediction is something in the future. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the definitions on the screen, and I want you to define observation and define inference. So I want you to go ahead and write those down. Oops, there we go. And I'm not going to take a lot of time to leave this up because you can pause your video. So this is the slide for observation and inference. So go ahead and pause your video and write those down. And then after you do that, pause your video and write this one down. So pause the video and write prediction down after you do the other part. All right. So now that you've done that, I'm going back to my paper, and you should have observation, inference, and prediction defined. Now, there's actually two types of observations that I want you to be aware of, because in science we use both of these types of observation. One is called qualitative observation, and one is called quantitative observation. A qualitative what happened? A qualitative observation is something you can describe using your five senses. So taste, touch, sound, smell, hearing. A qualitative observation is something that you use to describe numerical. You use your senses, but you're describing something numerically. So if we were to look at this, what is something we can measure numerically? Got it on the screen here. What is something we can measure numerically? We could count them. We could say there's, I haven't really counted them, but I'm gonna say there's 67 little objects in there. We could measure the amount of liquid. All right, 250 milliliters of liquid. There's lots of other things. We can actually take some of these out and weigh them. That's a numerical value. We could measure their width and their height. There's all kinds of numerical measurements that we could take. Do you have any idea what they are yet? Let me see it. They're starting to slow down, that's for sure. All right, so now the thing is that at this point, you would not have enough information to really determine exactly what's in this jar. You would have to take other observations. So maybe you would take one out of the jar and hope it doesn't bite, right? And take a really close look at it. And, you could you could smell it. All right, I could say this has a very sweet smell. The liquid is very sweet smelling. The objects, see, I know what they are, so I'm going to do this, but I would never recommend doing this in a science classroom, but I could eat one. Never do that in a science class. They are sweet, and basically really what they are is raisins in Sprite. So why do raisins and Sprite swim around? Well, take a look. All the bubbles from the Sprite attach to the little raisins, and that makes them float up to the top. And then when they get to the top, the bubbles pop and they float back down to the bottom. Oops. There you go. Yeah, so that's really it. All right, let's go back to our paper. So, um, so I wanted you to do some examples of inferences. Use your own examples, some of your own examples for prediction. And then I want you to practice by filling out this page. This is the one I really want to look at to see if you really understand. So really think about it. Think about the pictures of the little hummingbirds and answer these questions the best you can. Is it qualitative, a numerical value? Is it quantitative, a numerical value? Is it qualitative, um, just the qualities using the five senses? Is it an inference, which is a guess about something right now? Or is it a prediction, which is a guess about something in the future? All right, now when you're finished filling this out, make sure you click this little button right here that says turn in, and that should turn it right back into Schoology, into the assignment where it came from. But before you close anything, I would also download it into your Google Drive. I would click here and download with annotations into your Google Drive or your computer, whichever one you want. All right, well, I hope that helps, and send me messages on Remind if you have any questions. All right, have a great one. I'll see you later. Feel well, everybody. Bye-bye.